What's up guys, it's me, Jeremy. Have you ever tried desperately to learn a champion, but something just doesn't click with you, and you're left feeling like the champion is impossible to play when most people have a much easier time on them? Well, for me, this happened a lot with Soraka. There's actually a lot of reasons this happens, and I think everyone has at least one or two champions that they try really hard to learn, but just can't figure them out. Let's get started. The entire concept revolves around the fact that being good at playing a champion is much more important than playing a champion that is good, and this is especially true in solo queue. You always want to take advantage of what you as a player are best at, and that can really cause some conflict with certain champions. Personal playstyle has a huge effect on your skill, and playing a champion that meshes with your playstyle goes a really long way. What I mean by that is that if you're an aggressive player, you're probably going to want to play champions that are good at playing aggressive. Likewise, if you're a passive player, you probably enjoy playing late game champions and sitting back to farm early on. You probably find a lot of success on the champions that you do play, since they work really well with not only the way you enjoy playing, but the way you're best at playing. For me, I like to play really aggressive, engaged champions who are bullies in lane and are great at starting fights. And so what this means is that champions who don't mesh well with your playstyle are going to require you to completely change the way you play to be successful on them. We all have our own playstyles that we typically tend to either enjoy, be really good at, or most likely both. And so learning a champion that conflicts with that is extremely difficult, since they limit what you as a player would normally be capable of. To continue the Soraka example, the reason why I have such a hard time playing her is because she totally conflicts with my playstyle of wanting to play aggressive and start fights. Playing the way I want to and am good at just really isn't possible in most cases if I want to be successful on Soraka, since I'll often end up overextending and taking too much damage. And so even though Soraka is a fairly easy champion to play, I have an extremely hard time learning her due to my characteristics as a player. In addition, a lot of champions have mechanics that can be conflicting when going from one champion to another. When you main or get used to certain champions, you get used to the tools they provide for you in their kit, and switching to a champion that lacks those tools can be challenging. When I first started playing mid lane, I used Ahri to learn the role, as the mobility on her ultimate made her kit quite forgiving for my playstyle and made up for a lot of positioning mistakes I would happen to make. When I switched to playing Annie mid, I was getting caught non-stop and would put myself in situations where, okay, if I was playing Ahri, I might have lived, but instead, since I was playing Annie, I died for free. Mobility is probably the most common example of this, but it definitely goes for a lot of other mechanics as well, including sustain or crowd control and things like that. But alright, to be fair, these things aren't going to make learning that champion that you're trying to learn impossible, just a bit more difficult than it would be for most people trying to pick them up. The ideal goal as a player is to be able to play every playstyle on every champion. Obviously, that's incredibly difficult, but trying out different playstyles can go a long way because there's always a time and a place for every individual playstyle. There's going to be times when playing aggressive is the right way to go, times when you should play passive, and times where you need to play somewhere in between. Having a dynamic playstyle and working on other aspects of your play not only diversifies your gameplay, but will also make new champions easy to pick up. Even if you don't have a champion's kit down, it will be far easier to learn how to play them once you've mastered the general playstyle. It really comes down to the limitations that we as players have in our individual skill sets, and how champions conflict with the way we are used to playing, as mastering every playstyle is certainly no easy feat. So why do you think you have a harder time learning some champions? Leave a comment, and thanks for watching.
Symptomatic fecal flaws due to twisting gutter clips and butts and forth and it's I know it takes some money, those of paper, keep in mind we just skip the ship well far